Welcome back to the Joseph Graham Show. Super excited. So, when this used to be called the 150K podcast, I had my buddy Luke Depron come on, and he brought us a bunch of value about health, fitness, life, just stuff in general. And I realized it's been like over 100 episodes. I'm like, we're coming into October. We're coming into that time of year when people need to really get their focus shifted on health and wellness and living the life they love. Because as we know in the holidays, we can drink too much, eat too much, do all the stuff we probably shouldn't do. So I brought my buddy Luke on. But Luke, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you, and we can go from there.
Yeah, man. Like as you said, this I think is a really pivotal corner of the year for people around their health and wellness, where things either go off the rails or it's a really unique time for people to step in, kind of step up. And if you can navigate this corner that we're coming into these next 3 months, it's a really influential time period in your life to where you can set the stage to go into the new year feeling very different, looking very different. So I love this. I love this conversation at this time of the year. As far as me, man, gosh, it's funny you mentioning having me on when you were under 100 episodes, and I'm trying to reflect back on life then, and what's different now. And to be honest, I don't know. I feel like it's just clicked right along. I'm turning 40 here in Christmas Eve,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, man, life's going fast in a good way, but it's just moving, man.
But see, there's the key to success that a lot of people miss. You have consistently been helping men for the past 2 years with their
Oh yeah.
fitness, with their health, actually longer than that.
Yeah,
But
over a
everyone
decade I've been in
thinks,
this
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
Yeah.
but everyone thinks success is real quick. It's simple. You do one funnel, one post, one thing, and you're super successful. You build your business, your brand, the people you talk to. And I know your circle is a really cool circle because you've been consistent over time, which goes right
Hmm.
back into kind of what we were talking about before being consistent over time each and every day. Because it's never
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever the I ate bad one time or ate good one time. It's more of, like you said, and let's dive into that a little bit. Coming into the holidays, how do we still get to eat what we want, but not be crazy? And I'm going to say it that way because coming into the holidays, I'm still going to eat stuffing. I'm still going to do
Sure.
different things, but there's ways I'm sure that you can help us do it the right way where we're not like, oh crap, I just gained 30 pounds in a quarter.
Totally. Yeah, man, I love this conversation because like I said, this is such a, I think, a pivotal corner. Um, and obviously, this some of this conversation requires context of like where your starting point is, what your goals are, of course. But like I just had a conversation with a coaching call earlier before we hopped on with a client, and it's like we've done some really good foundational work for the last couple months, and now these next 6 weeks, it's like, hey, we're really gonna pull some levers really intentionally to make really good use of this time coming into Thanksgiving to where then we'll back off. So I think part of it is we can have some intentionality around our focus, knowing that we're going to have some periods where things are going to be a bit more laxed. Again, Thanksgiving, possibly Halloween, obviously, um, Christmas, Hanukkah, those types of situations. Um, so it does start with recognizing where are you at and where's the goal. If you are in the beginning of a journey, meaning, and again, if there's a physique component, um, you should go into this holiday season and you should feel the friction a little bit. If you don't feel the friction, meaning it doesn't feel like you're navigating it a little bit different, you're probably going to have the same results. And so you should actually be excited to go through this holiday season as an opportunity to navigate these challenging circumstances and show up as a different version of yourself. You want these stressful times because you want to litmus test your health habits and your fitness systems to see if they can navigate these quote treacherous waters. On a more tangible, actionable piece of advice, I think it really comes down to this is recognizing that it is the holidays and avoiding falling victim to the holiday season. So, you mentioned stuffing around Thanksgiving, and it's like if that's your jam or pecan pie or whatever it is, having that one meal at Thanksgiving, it's pretty inconsequential. And so if you can go into the holiday season focused nutritionally around enjoying the holidays in whatever capacity that means for you. That means like I got to have my grandma's famous pecan pie. I know it's not great for me. Then have it and enjoy it. It's extending that holiday eating into a season of eating. And if you avoid that, man, you're not going to, you're still going to be able to make progress. And so, when you look at like a traditional holiday menu, there's so much great stuff that would actually be really positive foods to bring into your diet plan. It's really about avoiding the chaos. So, hopefully that doesn't, when that's heard, that's not received as this opportunity of, okay, it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to binge and have it all. Oh man, like lean
Oh,
into the stuff that you like the most. If it's
yep.
Thanksgiving, or again, if it's stuffing, like make sure you have stuffing, right? But then obviously load up on turkey, good clean protein. Be
Mhm.
mindful of the alcohol, right? Like, hey, maybe 3 to 4 drinks will get you the feeling that you want versus 12. And then again, not turning it into a season of eating. You do that, you'll be fine.
When I think that, and this is what I like about you, is this: it's not that you have to be so strict and so dominant you can't do anything because then people trip out. It's knowing your limits, knowing what you're going into. And if I'm going into Thanksgiving, great. That week beforehand, I'm probably going to try and eat more chicken or more healthier type of things that are
Hmm.
in my food. So that way, when I have that one meal, it doesn't affect it. Or if I have a couple of drinks, it doesn't affect it. But I
Totally.
loved what you said there because a lot of times we compound it. Oh, I ate ice cream and stuffing on Thanksgiving. Well, it's Black Friday, so now I'm going to eat the leftovers. Well, now I'm going to eat ice cream again. Oh,
Yep.
wait, I just ate ice cream 5 days in a row. Eating ice cream once is not a big deal. It's just if,
Exactly.
and I'm just throwing ice cream out there. Insert your food of whatever that is. I'm not,
Yep.
ice cream's fine, whatever. And it's just finding the food protocols that work. And I don't even like the word diet. Yes, I know diet is a food protocol, but in my head, diet seems fakeish. And if I say it's a
Sure.
food protocol, this is just something I can do for life. Um,
Yep. I call it your
so and then
EOS, your eating operating system. And that's what we
there we
set
go.
guys up with. Yeah.
EOS. Cool.
Yeah.
We'll call it the EOS. I mean, most guys don't want to be on a diet anyway. They don't like the term.
Right.
So I like that eating operating system. And then the other thing that I've been trying to do, and I just want to encourage some people that maybe are just starting out. So this summer, as you see, because you followed me, I fell hiking, and it
Hmm.
was my own dumb fault. But I hit my tailbone, and I went from being able to kickbox and run and lift weights to I've been walking. So I would just want to encourage you, do what you can. And I want you to speak a little bit on that too, because as you get older, it takes a little longer to, like, I'm still healing up from it. It sucks. Like, I want to go out and run and
Yeah.
kickbox, and I had to take a break from it. But listening to your body doesn't mean you stop. It just means you adapt.
Yep. And, walking is a great tool. I think it's actually probably one of the easiest points of leverage. There's no systemic fatigue to it, which when we are building out intelligent exercise programs for a lifestyle approach, that's what we're trying to avoid is this accumulation of systemic fatigue, overtraining, injury. And when you recognize that walking is really just human locomotion, it's something that we should be doing a lot of. So that's a leverage point in like in the Fitman Project coaching programs. We leverage, we collect that data, and that's a very easy point that we can adjust as needed based on the goal. Obviously, the hard part there tends to be time. There
Mhm.
could be time constraints to obviously like just going out for a walk. But yeah, I would encourage people to like audit that step count, actually see where it's at, depending on your goal. Maybe that's a leverage point that you need to pull that lever and increase that step count. And if that's the case, it's like, start with an add in approach, try to figure out where can you navigate it into your life where it doesn't feel like it's a hard thing to do. So like a great example is if I'm on a phone call and it's not a Zoom, I'm pacing around my office and like that kind of stuff adds up. Only after you've exhausted that add in approach do you really need to look at an add on where it's something that you're actually scheduling, like these dedicated walks or cardio sessions. But to your overall point, man, starting with what you can, like that's awesome. And I'm telling you, I say this all the time, like the all in, all out mentality, it doesn't work. And I have people say this all the time to me, guys, when like they reach out and they're like, well, I'm an all in, all out kind of guy. And I'm like, yeah, you're really not. You're kind of an all out guy right now. So
Yep.
let's let go of that identity piece. Let's shift away from that. Um, and the people that I see starting over on their fitness journeys, on their health journeys, are the ones that take the most extreme approaches. You show me a
Mhm.
guy who's constantly struggling and constantly starting over, I'll show you a guy who tries to fix the problem with extreme solutions that he can't maintain. And then he
Oh,
hides
I've
behind
been
the
there.
idea that he's an all in, all out kind of
Yeah.
guy, and the work got in the way.
Yeah. No, I've been there. Like I did the 75 hard thing because it was a cool trend.
Yep.
And I completed it twice and I failed 4 times. And then I was like, well, yeah, but why do I want to be so extreme when in reality, if I'm consistent over time, that's how I win in business, that's how I win in sales, that's how I win in life. But
Yep.
we see these hard things and we want the trophy instead of the results. I think that's what it
Totally.
is. It's our ego, not our
100%.
actual, yeah.
100%. It's, again, do people get results on 75 hard? I would hope so. You're working out twice a day, like eating a perfect diet, like you better get results. It's
Hmm.
just if you don't have an exit plan from something that's intense, that's going to transcend into a true lifestyle, to me, you're wasting your time.
Hmm.
And I've also seen other people, and again, we'll just use 75 hard as something to identify this as. Um, where I'll see guys and it's like, oh, I'm on my sixth attempt. And I'm like, cool, man. Is your goal to really finish 75 hard, or is it to not be a type 2 diabetic anymore? Because we can
Yeah.
maybe solve that in a way that's easier. And from a lifestyle approach to exercise and health, you need to figure out how do you make it feel easier to do. Once you have that baseline, and this sounds very counterintuitive, but like you got to earn the right to do the hard stuff. Like
Hmm.
you got to figure out how to actually have a lifestyle approach, something that you're going to do for the next 1 to 2 to the rest of your life around health, exercise, nutrition. Once you have that installed, then you want to dabble into like intense bouts. Perfect. But you don't
Hmm.
fix a foundational issue with a short burst of effort. And I kind of equate this to you don't fix your business problems with a marketing launch. You filled it with a foundational business plan. Your health and wellness and your approach towards it needs to be thought of as a business plan, not a marketing launch.
Well, and I think about this because like I've been in business and sales and life for a long time. And I thought about it. So I did the 75 hard. I like the products. That's cool. But then I started training for a half marathon, which I did last year. I can't do 75 hard and train for a half marathon because you have to rest your legs and do different things to
Sure.
do it. But that was like a 9 month commitment I did, but it was over time progressive. There was days, 2 to 3 days a week I'd do 5 to 6 miles. On the weekend. I would do up to 10, I think, beforehand, just the program I was following. And then I was lifting and doing kickboxing because just I was into it. Now I was in
Hmm.
decent shape. I hadn't hurt myself at that point. Um, and I think it's not bad to have a goal of something you're working toward,
Sure.
but my approach and thought process is where I'm going with it was different. 75 hard, I was like, mentally, I got to do this. I have to beat this, blah, blah, blah. With
Yeah.
me doing the thing, and my wife ended up doing the half marathon with me, it was, I just want to be able to see if I can do this. There's no end game of I have to do it in a set time, do this, or whatever. I just have to commit to myself each and every day to be healthy and move
Yep.
forward and get on my feet. And I think that's the better key. If you make the commitment each and every day to be healthy and get in movement somehow and eat better, it's way better.
Yeah, and so in my coaching programs, I use this concept of guaranteed minimum standards. So it's a very similar like mental commitment to like this has to be done. Period.
Hmm.
Like there's no getting out of this, but we set that in a way that feels very achievable rather than trying to stretch it from the beginning. And to your point of having that like marathon goal, that's a great goal. And if you are going to have a marathon goal or a jujitsu competition goal or whatever these goals are, well, the professional approach is to adjust in real time and understand that, oh wow, you know what? I'm getting into overtraining. So it would be more productive to take a rest day, to sleep in, to skip a workout. That actually
Yeah.
gets me to the goal better than some arbitrary, I'm having to check the box because I said so and I'm doing this, mental hard challenge. And it's like, if you're doing it from a mental thing, great. But if you're doing it from a reach the goal, you're going to need to adjust in real time. You're going to literally have to listen to your body and accept that feedback and adjust along the way. And that might mean like, again, a rest day needs to be there. So it's just different approaches. And when you recognize what is the actual outcome goal that you're trying to get, there may be more efficient ways to get there that aren't just doing more. Like it's
Yeah.
not always doing more.
Sometimes slowing down speeds you up and
Yeah,
you get that recovery, then you're able to actually go and do the things you want to do. And I think it's because in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of people listen to this are sales professionals who have a chip on their shoulder or
sure.
entrepreneurs who have a chip on their shoulder. You're just wired that way. And sometimes you just need to build a plan that's sustainable for life. You
Hmm.
don't have to go climb the mountain today. You can
Right.
go and just do a hill and it will be okay because you're moving forward. You're getting to that point. And I know
Yep.
even in my fitness journey, when I go too extreme, then I go extreme the other way. That's that all or nothing. But when I'm just
Sure.
consistent, I'm okay if I eat like a pizza pocket every once in a while because I know 90% of the time I'm eating good. Or
Hmm.
maybe if I have a sort of like I've recently in the past month just have decided I'm not drinking right now. Not like forever. I took a break from it. It's been about a month. I've lost 10 pounds. I feel better and I have more
Yeah.
clarity. And I'm
Sure.
like, okay, cool. I'm liking this, so I'm just gonna ride this out for a while.
Yep.
I've also been the dude that drank crazy, like you should drink, because when you're young and dumb, you do stupid shit. It just is
Sure.
what it is.
Sure.
But I think it's finding what is working for you at the moment, and like you said, tweaking it.
Yeah. And it's not, again, the particularly working with men, again, entrepreneurs, like that hard charging mentality. It's not sexy to post on social media that like you're taking a moderate approach to anything, right?
Yeah.
Like we all champion and celebrate the person that's going and doing this extreme thing. And then I watch the same guys like fall off and now they're doing nothing. And it's like, if you want to do something really meaningful and impactful and really probably want to actually tackle the ultimate challenge, it's land in that space where you can do something what feels like a lifetime approach to where when you do choose to have a beer on Thanksgiving, it doesn't create this cascade of events that completely throws you off track. Um, I'm far more impressed to watch somebody do something moderate for a year than hard for 30 days.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like,
Well, because it's a flash in the pan. We've
yep,
seen them in business forever. Oh, this is a new thing. My funnel, this thing, blah blah blah, and
sure.
they don't show up. But what I've noticed, and this is just a success thing in general, is doing the boring, consistent things over and over in my business have got me the words I have behind me on my wall from working for corporations. Doing the things over and over for my podcast have got me my listeners.
Yep.
Showing up and walking each and every day. And a lot of times I produce content, people that follow my stuff, you get little inserts in my mind because when I walk, it makes my mind think and I actually have
Hmm.
time where there's no noise. Um, and that's been probably one of the most biggest game changers for me. Like
Yeah.
thinking about it, we have a lot of really cool people in our circle but the ones that I really value the most are probably the quietest and the most consistent. And they're not trying to be, look at me, they're just building their legacy. And you look back and go, holy crap, that guy's actually worth multi-millions. This guy who said he was worth millions has 50 bucks in his bank account because he's
Sure.
not consistent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
know I'm going to change it. I was
No,
just
no.
thinking about like, it just goes through life.
Yeah. It's like the rented car for the photo shoot. Right. And, yeah. And when I look at health habits and fitness systems, to me, they should exist in a way that you actually, in the end, put very little effort or very little mental, not effort, excuse me, mental thought into it. It should be something that almost exists as background noise. Um, and kind of similar to the guy who has a really productive business. Like, yeah, it's almost like background noise because it's working well. It should feel probably easier once you've got through the initial startup phase of business or startup phase of your health and fitness. That once you've got those systems in place, smooth sailing, man. Like, yeah, you got to make adjustments along the way, but it shouldn't be this all encompassing thing. It should feel fairly light and easy once you're there. Getting there, you got to climb that mountain. Yes. But once you're there, it should be kind of smooth sailing.
Well, but then it becomes your norm. And then when you don't do it, you feel off. Like if I don't
Yeah.
get to walk or
Yeah.
if I have to adapt for the day, I have to like even like I try to do a lot of different things, but my like ceiling and floor, my floors, I'm gonna walk at least 2 miles a day. That's
Yep.
just mentally, physically, whatever. I need that just because I need it. On a really good day, it might be 10, 11 miles, but that's just when I planned
Wow.
it
Good
out
for
and
you.
I've been able to do it. But well, I've been averaging about 5.9, but I really like walking. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's become something, and I live by the mountains now, so there's nature. There's more elements to it for me than just, I'm not just walking for health, and I'm a pretty hyped up guy anyway, but I have different paths and different things I can do. And I think it's finding the enjoyment in the journey of what you're doing, just like in business,
Totally.
just like in life.
Yeah. And, and I think the thing is, there is this innate desire for things like low level movement, like walking, getting out in the sun, getting some vitamin D, feeling the elements, nature, that it's pretty universal. Most guys I work with start with like a physique goal in mind, but it's kind of what you touched on as far as just feeling at baseline by being active. And when you recognize that, hey, doing what we're doing right now, sitting on technology, it's kind of incongruent with your body's expectation of reality, particularly when you're somebody, if you're stuck at that desk for 8 to 10 hours a day, that's absolutely at odds with what your physiology is expecting. So when you start to inject certain things like taking walking breaks, man, you feel way better. And, every guy who starts a health journey, most start with the physique goal, right? Like, hey, I got to lose the gut, right? Like I got the man
Yep,
boobs. I'm
yep.
not comfortable at the pool. But I promise you, what will that will start you through the journey, but will pull you through the process is feeling really good. And then
Mhm.
you get into that cyclical, habit of like, yeah, I go for walks every day. Why? Because I feel great when I do it. And then you find yourself in a quote healthy lifestyle.
Well, again, I love how it plays out. Success is boring. It's doing the right steps over and over again with the
Yeah,
known results. We know what it is. We just choose not to do it most of the time because we want the quick pill or the quick funnel or the quick
yeah,
workout that doesn't do it. Like it's so funny. Like it's right there. Like you can be successful in life, business, relationship, whatever. You just have to do the levers and pull it. Most people
yep,
are just not willing to pull it. So
yeah,
going into the holidays, because I want to think about this a little bit more. So people are listening, go, well, yeah, that's easy for you, Joe. You walk all the time, and Luke, you look like a Greek god, so it's easy for you. And like they'll throw this out.
sure.
And here's the thing: I think it's better if people just get in movement and just start. So do you have people start with their food or do you get them in movement first? If someone's trying to fix their problem, what do you normally recommend?
Sure. So there's kind of three big buckets that we tackle. Um, Obviously, there's a lot that goes on in these, but we can kind of chalk it up to build, fuel, and move. Which with the build phase, this is a resistance training portion of programming. The fuel is obviously the nutrition, and then move is just low level movement. I actually start with the build phase with most guys, and the reason being is there's something that feels psychologically really productive and powerful when you start to engage with strength training.
Yep.
Um, and so typically, like, we're going to take a week to really just dial that in. We're going to get your biomechanics. You're going to have to send me videos. Like, we're going to like fully optimize the general approach to the resistance training portion of a program. Um, Ultimately, like, I mean, I've had other guys where it's, we started with the fuel because they're waiting on some equipment to arrive. Other people, the movement, and really it's about layering these pieces together. But for, yeah, most guys, we actually start with the resistance training because it
Mhm.
really, there's a psychological intensity to it where you feel like, okay, I'm really doing this thing versus, hey, let's just get some additional steps in. Um,
Mhm.
so we usually want to get a baseline of where their steps are at. Then based on goal, we're going to strategically elevate it usually.
No, I like that. And I can see that because I've done weightlifting programs, I've done different stuff. And when you get a good pump on, it's just a good
Yeah.
endorphin feel. I don't know if it's endorphins or whatever. You just get a
Oh,
really good feeling.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
you feel like strong and men want to feel strong.
Yep.
Whereas, maybe walking doesn't work. Walking for me is more of a mental thing because then there's no
Totally.
one bugging me, pulling on me. That's why
Yeah.
I like it so much because I'm just by myself. Unless someone's walking down the road and you say hi, oh well, that's not
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I
I'm a
actually get
huge
alone
I'm
time.
a huge walker myself. I mean, I make up excuses that I need something from the I'm like, can't, I'll have 5 dozen eggs in the fridge. I'm like, I think I need more eggs, and I'll walk to the grocery store because it's walking distance.
Hmm.
I think walking, for the most part, I'm using it as a metabolism tool to affect fat loss, typically with the people I'm working with. But beyond that, as far as just like joint health, fascial tensegrity, where like your body doesn't feel bound. Walking is hugely important. And again, it just kind of goes back to your body has that expectation for it and recognizing like this is so incongruent with what your body's expectation is. So walking for me is absolutely mental, huge piece, obviously the nature component. So we definitely layer that in for sure.
No, I love that. I love that. Where can people find you at? They're probably like, well, yeah, you're telling us all this stuff, but where can we find you?
Easiest place to connect with me, go to fitmenproject.com. I do have I have a free training that's actually useful. Obviously, yes, there's an opportunity if you want to have a conversation with me, we can have a conversation about, what a personalized plan for you actually looks like that takes into account, your specific life dynamics, your business, your kids, and really crafting a tactical approach that fits your unique needs. But within that training, man, it can really, I think, remove a lot of the confusion around this and kind of give you a better idea. I'm also active on LinkedIn and obviously Facebook. That's easy places for people to connect with me. I'm always willing to have a conversation. I realize most people have I think what holds up a lot of people from having success in this is a misunderstanding, and there's a mismatch of what is perceived to need to happen. And it feels out of their grasp when really there's tactical ways to integrate these um, big buckets of build, fuel, move into whatever situation that you have going. And then being very strategic with pulling volume levers, because you're not going to speed up the process any faster than your physiology allows. So let's land in that place that feels psychologically comfortable for you while maximizing physiological outputs.
Yeah, no, I love that, my friend. I love that. So, last question, because I'm intrigued by this, and it's a little bit different than the last one. What does success mean to you?
Great question. From a business standpoint, I think it is the autonomy. That's what I'm chasing, right? Meaning, and what I mean by that, if I had the opportunity in in my current business model, like I'm not going to exit for $200 million, right? Like that's just not how I'm building out what I've created. But if I had that opportunity, but it was bound by other people's expectations, other people's rules, other people's direction for the next 20 years of my life, like that wouldn't feel like success to me. So for me, autonomy is kind of a leading indicator of business success. On a personal level, I don't want to say I'm pursuing happiness, um, but happiness and fulfillment, I
Mhm.
would say, are like kind of the leading indicators, and to acquire that for me means I'm making an time with people I care about, doing things I enjoy. And right now, like that enjoyment factor is hiking. I've done some epic hikes in the last 3, 4 years. Just got back from
Mhm.
Whistler, and the most incredible waterfall in Whistler that I got to see. It's getting to do jujitsu. And it's obviously spending time with loved ones as I'm getting to travel back for the holidays and spend time with family.
I love that. I love that. So, I'm going to ask a follow-up question because you said that. Why did you say not happiness? Because you said success is happiness, but it's not. Is it contentment? Go a little deeper
I
for me
mean,
there.
so I will say it is happiness, but I feel like that's like a fleeting. Um, I do think that's a marker that we're aiming for, right? From like an emotional standpoint, but it's not that I expect to just constantly be happy.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be stress and there's going to be challenges. So really opening myself up to like the width of all emotions and understanding the life experience is going to come with pain, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to lose family members. There'll be periods where I won't probably be happy. There are going to be periods where you're doing things that you don't want to be, but I think angling towards that as a emotion that I want to experience often. I also I think I always talk about like finding the fun, finding the funny, um, and having moments of levity and joy and happiness. So I don't know if that's the right word, because to sit here and say like I'm going to be blissfully happy constantly is just not going to be the reality of life. But like pointing
Right.
my arrow towards that versus, I think we've all met guys and women as well who quote are successful. They've got the house, they've got the car. And again, I see this kind of on the flip side of, but their health has caved. But there's also people who have all the markers of success, but they're not happy. All right. So that's where the
Yep.
happiness comes in, I guess.
No, I love that. Well, I want people to wake up to a life they love living and to find success how they want. So no, I agree 100% with that. Luke, thank you for being on the show. For all you listening, we're coming into the holiday season. Get a plan set up. Reach out to Luke. He can help you so that you can navigate it and not have to start a New Year's resolution in January. You can just start changing your life now in the fourth quarter instead of waiting until the first quarter and failing because you're just following the trend instead of making an impactful change. Till
Yeah.
next time, go be legendary. Thank you again for being on, my friend.